Hi folks, Officer Kelleher, Merrimack PD. Today's show we're going to be talking about the Citizens Police Academy. We're also going to be talking and discussing some issues with the holiday season coming up. Today I'm honored to have a special guest with me today. His name is Gary Gahan. Gary is a longtime Merrimack resident, a former Marine, always a Marine. Gary served in the Marine Corps, and he also took the opportunity and he joined us in one of our recent Citizen Police Academy. And Gary has also recently joined us as one of our first members on our new program called the Merrimack Volunteer Program. And they have recently joined and been certified in the CERT program. CERT stands for the Community Emergency Response Team, and that is through the Citizen Corps. What that program does, they are prepared for any disasters. They assist first responders, and it's a great program. So thank you, Gary, for joining me. And we're gonna be talking about Gary's experience in our Citizens Police Academy. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome, Rob.
So, Gary, a couple questions. Can you just tell the folks how you were interested in joining the Citizen Police Academy?
I saw an ad. I forget whether it was on TV or in the news or something, and I said, this is interesting. I said, I've been in resident Merrimack all the time. I've seen our cruisers running around town. What do they really do besides drink coffee and eat donuts? So I said, I've got to find out more about this, and I went to the academy for the 12 weeks, and what an eye-opener it was.
Thank you. What were you expecting to get out of the academy, and what did you get out of it?
Well, what I was expecting, Rob, was to know exactly more what goes on behind the scenes, besides cruises around town, doing things of, typical police work that we see on the television show. I said, there's got to be a lot more to it than this for what goes on, or traffic details and things like that. And so I wanted to know what was going on behind the scenes, and the only way to find out that is to actually be in the academy to get the 12 weeks of different components of what goes on in the academy. And I did get everything and then some, more so than what I expected out of the whole program.
All right. And folks, the Citizens Police Academy, it's a 10-week program, and every week it's a different topic. So they get to learn every aspect of what the police department does. It ranges from patrol functions to criminal investigations. We also put on a mock trial that Gary observed. One day we do computer crimes and forensics. And then they learn about what the community service officer does, animal control, dispatch. Folks get an opportunity to go on ride-alongs. They get the opportunity to sit into a dispatch and to really understand what dispatch does. I really appreciate your talking about your experience.
I found that the dispatch was probably one of the most important areas, because that's the first contact that many times a person in an emergency situation has. So you have to have a person who knows what they're doing and how to deal with a situation to calm somebody down, to get the data that they need so that they can respond accordingly as to how they need to dispatch an officer for what purpose. And I found that was fascinating. I'm trying to think of the ride-along was a very fascinating thing, Rob. The night that I happened to be doing it was a night that there was a drug bust that was going to happen in town. So there was a lot of activity in the police station with not only Merrimack Police, but state police and federal police. And of course, we didn't know who or what, but it was just the activity and the flurry of activity and the excitement that everybody was involved with. Unfortunately, that particular night, that didn't come to pass, but at least Merrimack is on top of things like that, which is there to be commended for. You just mentioned something that really caught my attention. Something else that caught my attention was the dealing with it was the issue with violence.
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence. And a personal situation that I happened to have a number of years ago, Rob, I was programming my phone at home, and I programmed in 911. And I didn't realize I had apparently hit the button and had a disconnect. Put the phone down. Within a matter of minutes, there's a knock on the front door, and there's two Merrimack police officers explaining what happened. I said, well, welcome in, officers. Then they wanted to see, obviously, make sure there wasn't something going on with my wife and I, and it was fine, and I thanked them for doing it. But that was how quick that was. So that shows people that somebody calls and there's a hang up or disconnect, we're going to be there.
That's right, Gary. And just so the folks know, it's very common in a domestic violence, situation. That's how it will come in to dispatch. The victim will call for help, and then they'll get disconnected. So we take every 911 call seriously, and some people get offended when two police officers show up at their door when they call back and say it was an emergency, but we can't take that risk that the victim is being told to tell us that it was an accident or not.
Right.
So we appreciate your
And I think the other thing that was
experience.
interesting was when they had outside sources to come in and talk about that cycle of domestic violence and that wheel that we got to observe and understand that it's not just one incident, it's multiple incidents that are apt to happen. And domestic violence is probably, in the police field, one of the toughest things to have to deal with sometimes when you don't know what you're going to come against and if somebody has a gun.
Well, it's true. It's probably the most dangerous call we go on, Gary, because of the unknown.
Right.
Everybody is elevated. People don't want to go to jail. They want to try to keep their families together. If we have to go in and arrest one of the parties, we might be taking their livelihood away from them. And then, it becomes, we become the
bad guy.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I can tell that, you gained a lot of experience and knowledge with domestic violence. And that was because Bridges is the organization that comes in 1 week during the Citizens Academy, and they actually teach the citizens on how the police and Bridges interact. Domestic violence just doesn't end when we make an arrest. As you know,
Right.
There's a lot of people affected. The victim, children, family members. It just goes on and on. So it's a great opportunity to show the citizens that there's more behind the scenes than just the initial call and first response. It's followed through, whether DCYF gets involved or the victim needs to have a safe home to go to break that cycle of domestic violence.
Absolutely. Well, I think this whole program of the police academy, when Brian Snell brought to my attention that he was in the process of trying to develop this volunteer program, it fit very, very nicely, hand in hand, and the fact that Merrimack has now entered into that CERT training, so we have people that are volunteers for CERT for any major emergencies like flooding or tornadoes, hurricanes, or anything that can happen here.
Ice storms.
That might be well the issue.
Living in New England, Gary.
Yeah, that's maybe one of the issues with winter coming that volunteers will be helping with. And that might be where some of the people in the new volunteer program, the new police academy might become interested in adding to that program in time.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Gary, because I think at this point, every volunteer with the new program has been a graduate of the Citizens Police Academy.
Right, absolutely, every one of them.
So this is just an awesome program that we offer to our citizens of Merrimack, and I truly think that the more people understand about your police department and what we do, it makes our whole community safer.
Absolutely, and it binds the community and people don't have to feel that the police department is the bad guys. That we're all working together for the safety of everybody, whether it's highway safety or, as you said, domestic violence safety. It's a community effort, and that's what has brought me to Merrimack. It is a community, definitely, much so, more so than some like Nashville, Manchester. It's definitely a community that sticks together and stays together.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is the police and fire department.
Well, we appreciate that, Gary. Coming from a resident of the town, that means a lot to us. We take pride in this program, and I think you can attest to that.
Absolutely.
Each week, we include different members of our police department to teach different classes. Some have more expertise in one subject. So we offer that to them, and they more than willing to teach that portion. So we do take a lot of pride in this, and I truly believe that we've gotten way more out of it than we've put into it.
I think so too, for the number of years you've been doing it.
Yeah.
And more people you run into are graduates and willing to support the department.
Yeah. And the chief comes in the first night, welcomes you, and he sincerely welcomes these folks into our family, as he calls it.
Yep.
Because without citizens helping us, we wouldn't be able to do the
Absolutely.
type of job
We want to work
do.
together and not against each other.
Absolutely, and that's why Merrimack was, rated one of the safest communities to live in. So again, we take pride in that, and so shouldn't you folks.
Absolutely. I don't want to move someplace else.
All right. So, would you recommend the Citizen Police Academy?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no physical requirements. You're not going to be doing push-ups and pull-ups. Trust me. You're going to get an education on what the local police department does, and you're going to understand that your tax dollars are being well spent, and how those dollars are being stretched. So again, it's a fun thing to do, and you'll know more about what goes on behind the scenes that you'll never see on TV or anywhere else, and how hard they all work as a team. So encourage anybody that wants to come to get on that phone, and you've got the information, I think, Brian, to tell them where to call or how to sign up.
Yeah, if you're interested in signing up for this year's Citizen Police Academy, you can drop by the dispatch window, and they have applications, or you can go online to our website, and on the left-hand column it will say Forms. Click on Forms, then click on General Forms, and under General Forms you'll see the file for the Citizen Police Academy. Just download the application, sign up, and drop it off. I will tell you, it's a first-come, first-served basis. Unfortunately, we have a limited number of people we can take because our room is not very big. So at this point, we're looking at like 18 to 20 people as max.
That makes a very good mix in that size. Anything more than that probably is difficult to control, or everybody to try to gain the insight and knowledge that they need to get the benefit from it.
You're right. We keep the number small. People ask, well, how come you don't open it up to more people? We want the personal touch to it. We want you to be able to feel more involved, and not just a number.
Right.
So, is that the way you felt when
Absolutely.
you took the academy?
Yeah, it was absolutely right. It was, like I said, and oftentimes it's fun to then see officers on the street that you've been involved with later on, and now you've connected a face with a name, and a better idea what their job is involved when you're out there and about in the community.
All right, Gary.
Thank you very much. My
for
pleasure.
Your experiences. I want to talk a little bit about some safety concerns for the holiday season. Unfortunately, thieves are looking to steal your property. They take advantage of the opportunity in the holiday season. Winter's upon us now, so in the last few years, plows have been stolen at an abundance, and snow blowers, high ticket items, easily stolen but hard to recover.
Yes, most people probably don't know the serial numbers of half those things.
No, they're not easily identified. There's no really true identification markings on plows and such. So please lock them up, and please lock your vehicles. Recently we've had a rash of people going through cars again. Unlock cars. We had a stolen vehicle where the car keys were left in the vehicle last week, and we had an attempted car theft this week. So please remove your keys and lock your vehicles. I know this is Merrimack and we are safe. We were rated one of the safest communities, but we are between Nashua and Manchester, and people from those other communities usually go to a neighboring town to commit a crime, and then they
go back home with it.
So please, lock your vehicles, do some due diligence to keep your property safe, even though we are a safe community. And again, if you're home and you see a suspicious person or a suspicious vehicle, give us a call. You can call our dispatch center. It's 424-3774. It's an automated system. You just hit 0 and it goes right to a live dispatcher. Give us the information and we'll send out a cruiser. And again, that's how we remain safe in our community. And the last thing I want to talk about, unfortunately, is packages. Holiday packages, Gary, where a lot of people shop online.
And they leave them on the front door.
And they do. And
they don't have to have a signature. Many of these UPS and FedEx don't. Even where I live, there's always somebody where I live, so we receive packages for people in our neighborhood. But I've seen oftentimes UPS will come by, no, I don't need a signature, and leave it out there. Tempting target for somebody.
You're right. And, UPS has done, a lot of safety precautions, and, they contact us, and sometimes, they actually have a vehicle out, watching their deliveries along with us. Mm-hmm. This is the season. High ticket items, people get computers, laptops delivered, iPads.
Expensive stuff.
Yeah, expensive property. And, so please, we have some recommendations. If you are doing some online shopping, please deliver it to somebody or somewhere where there's somebody going to be able to receive that property.
Or even to their place of business.
Exactly. I'm sure your workplace gets a lot of UPS, packages, U.S. mail, doesn't matter. Just have it dropped off at your work.
Just a question, Rob. Have any of our UPS drivers in Merrimack had their trucks attacked by turkeys yet, or the drivers being attacked by turkeys? Because that's the latest in the news here in New Hampshire, that turkeys in some areas are going after the trucks and chasing the drivers when they're delivering packages to people's houses.
Well, Gary, I haven't heard of that yet.
But we have plenty of them in Merrimack right now.
We do. We have a lot of turkeys. But I haven't heard of any attacks.
So the officers are not chasing turkeys these days?
No. So also with the packages, if you have a retired neighbor or, somebody who maybe works from home, again, you should know your neighbors. That's how we remain safe, right? Good neighbors. Right. Get out and meet your neighbors. And, if you belong to a neighborhood watch, which I hope you do, or if you're interested in joining a neighborhood crime watch, contact me and I'll set you up. those people who are either retired or work from home, reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm expecting a package today. If it comes, can you just bring it in and I'll pick it up when I get home. I'm sure they're more than willing to help out. That's what we do. We help neighbors out. So that's all I'll say about the holiday packaging. Lastly, some safety tips. Every year, unfortunately, we get some incidents where, some small fires start from, missed candle use.
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe, overpowering your outlets. Too many things plugged into outlets, create some electrical fires. And Christmas trees. People like to put up their Christmas trees
early.
Early.
They
Please,
dry out.
Yeah, don't forget to keep water in them. And if you do see them getting really dry, be really cautious. If you don't, I know the new Christmas lights are LED. They really don't throw out a lot of heat.
Right.
But if you have some old Christmas lighting, they really can throw out a lot of heat. And a Christmas tree will go up really fast. So just be careful and cautious. And I just want to wish everybody happy holidays and, stay safe. And again, I was saying, Gary.
Happy holidays too.
And, the saying for the Merrimack Police Department, if you see something, say something. That's how we keep this community safe.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays to you and all you folks. Thanks for joining us.